Eddies, how are you doing this morning?
Good.
Everybody having a good day? You ready to get out of here?
Yes, ma'am.
Outstanding. Okay, so I want to thank you for being part of the 1% of Americans who are willing or able to defend our country. That's a big deal, and out of 330 million people, that's not a lot. Thank you for putting up with our process. I know it's not fun. Outside of that, we're going to tell a quick story, then we're going to get you sworn in. A long time ago, there was this guy who was born in Kingston, Texas. Now, Kingston is about an hour northeast of here between Celeste and Greenville. It is pretty much nowhere. And this guy, he was born the son of sharecroppers, and so he was really, really poor. They didn't have enough money to own their own land, so they're farming somebody else's land. He had 12 brothers and sisters. Before he could get out of school, his dad abandoned his family. So he just had strike after strike against him. So in order to try to help his family, he tried to join the military, and they didn't want him. Tried 2 or 3 times. And so finally he kept trying, and after he graduated from high school, or actually after he turned 18, the Army took him in. They trained him, and they sent him off to Sicily and North Africa, and he finally wound up in France fighting Germans. Now, in Germany, he was there with his best friend. And his best friend saw a German in a field trying to surrender, so he goes out to meet that German. Well, it turns out that German was a decoy, and they were just luring our American soldier out so that they could shoot him, and that's what they did. So this enraged this guy, and he fought through and took over a German machine gun position and basically took out all the Germans in the area. Now, that was one of many things that he did, the first of many. Very courageous, dangerous things that he did that saved American lives and Allied lives as well. What happened by the end of the war is he had done so many of those things is that he became the most decorated soldier in World War II. Anybody know who he is?
It's Audie Murphy, man.
It's Audie Murphy. Thank you so much. That's not, for some reason, it's not very important, and a lot of teachers don't teach it anymore because it's not on the tags, it's not on the star, so it's not doesn't make that much of an impact on people. But it's nice when somebody knows. It's nice that we know about things that people from Texas, from our area, have done. Now, so Audie Murphy, he got famous. Doesn't happen to many people. He was on the cover of Life magazine, on the cover of lots of magazines. He wrote a book called To Hell and Back, his autobiography. He portrayed himself in a movie based on that book, and then he was in a bunch of movies after that. And you know, most military people, they do their job and they come home. Nobody knows that they did it. They just go quietly off and keep doing their thing. But he got famous. And it's the least important thing about him. Being famous is so not important. What is important about him is that he stood in a room just like you're standing today before he shipped off to basic training. And he raised his right hand and he swore an oath to defend our Constitution against all enemies. And then he did it. And he didn't do it once, and he didn't do it twice. He did it lots and lots of times. He kept that promise continuously throughout the entire war. And it says a lot about a person's character and how they deal with their promises. So today, when you're making yours, you need to realize that Audie Murphy's time was a long time ago. He passed away. And the baton has been passed to you, and it's your leg of the race, and it's your turn to run. Now, when you're making your run, when you're making your turn, and you have to raise your right hand, we need you to make this promise to keep it because it's important, especially since so few people really will stand up to do what you're doing. Because we don't stay the greatest nation in the world without people like you. So when you make your promise today, we sure do need you to keep it, and I know you will, and I thank you for it. Now, I have to ask you a couple of questions. Have you been briefed on and do you understand the DoD separation policy, restrictions on personal conduct in the armed forces, and UCMJ Articles 83, 85, and 86?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, does anyone have any questions or reservations or reluctance to enlisting at this time?
Oh, man.
All right. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to call you to attention. I'm going to have you raise your right hand. We're going to do our oath. I'm going to have you lower your right hand. And then I'm going to say fall out. Does not mean fall out on the floor because you might fall on somebody behind you and hurt them, and we can't injure people before they go to basic. It would be bad. I would get in trouble. So what I want to have happen when I say fall out is just fall out from the position of attention and go sit in those chairs in there. Now, everybody in here is shipping today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody's delayed entry? All right. Should be easy breezy. Y'all ready? Here we go. Group, attention. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brandon Kingsdale,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and that I will obey the orders
and I will obey the orders
of the President of the United States
of the President of the United States
and the orders
and the orders
of the officers appointed over me,
of the officers appointed over me,
according to regulations
according to regulations
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lower your right hand. Fall out. Right back in there in those chairs. Family members, thank you so much for coming today. I'm about to have to run and go get my ID before the IT guy gets me and I get in trouble with